Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm Dr. Tony McNeill, and I am excited to be here with you tonight to have a conversation with a colleague and a friend of mine, Dr. Jillian Harrison-Jones, regarding an upcoming performance that she is curating and conducting in New York at Carnegie Hall. And I am excited to be here to convene this conversation and learn more from her about it and perhaps um, provide information for you and your choir or you as an individual chorister to want to participate in this wonderful opportunity. As you are coming into the Zoom space or to the virtual space, I'm so used to being on Zoom, saying Zoom, but into this virtual space, if you would uh, tell us where you're joining the conversation from, your city and state, that would be awesome. We would love to know who's here and where you are from. Uh, and we will be bringing out Dr. Harrison Jones very shortly. So, in the comments, just type in your city and state and say hello, and we will get started. I see Ashley Pretty Renee. Thank you for joining from Cincinnati. I see someone from Hamilton, Ohio. Emily, thank you for being here. Samantha is from Illinois. Oh, yeah, y'all coming in. Good to see y'all. Hey, Keith, good to see you. Keith Easton from Houston, Texas. Brittany Brown from Cincinnati, excuse me. And my friend Tony G. Smith from Dunn. That's my hometown, near my hometown. Thank you for being here, Tony. Kristen, I see you from Chicago. Jeffrey A. Jones, thank you for joining. Columbus, Ohio, Rochester, New York, Indianapolis. Of course, Indianapolis is going to be in the house. That's where Dr. Harrison Jones currently resides. Good evening to you, Wendell, Craig Woods. I see a lot of ministers of music and uh, church musicians joining. Thank you all so much for being here. Naya Charles from Princeton, New Jersey. Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, folks, thank you for being here. And I want to encourage you to forward this conversation or repost this conversation, this broadcast to your social media network to alert more people about this conversation that we are having with Dr. Jillian Harrison Jones. And I am going to bring her up right now. Hey, Eddie, uh, thank you so much for joining. Jennifer Botts from Indiana, thank you so much for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, our special guest for the hour, Dr. Jillian Harrison Jones, joining us live from Indianapolis, Indiana. How are you doing, Dr. Harrison Jones?
I'm doing very, very well. Trying to stay cool in this hot weather we're having in Indianapolis.
Yes. Thank you so much for making the time to uh, join me here on StreamYard and on Facebook. And we're broadcasting also on my YouTube channel and to talk about this awesome opportunity that has been afforded to you at Carnegie Hall in New York City. A lot of us who are in the arts, especially in music, have this lifelong dream sometimes of making it to Carnegie Hall. And people say if you practice hard enough, good practice and dedication and commitment will land you on that stage. Well, you are going to that stage as a conductor, and I want to affirm as a Black woman conductor and lift that up and just support you and affirm you in this wonderful opportunity. And I am grateful that Mid America Productions um, uh, extended the invitation or invited you into this opportunity. And we are here to learn more about it and how folks can participate with you in this opportunity to sing on that legendary stage at Carnegie Hall. Okay, but for those folks who may be watching who may not know you or are familiar with your work. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in music and your call to choral music, your training, whatever background information you want to share with us.
Well, I want to take the time to say thank you, Dr. Tony, for extending this opportunity to interview and to chat about this. I'm grateful for your friendship, and so I'm excited for this opportunity. So, sure, I'll share a little bit about myself and my background. So, I grew up in a musical family, so I have been immersed in music and choral music, especially, essentially my entire life. But as far as professional and choral training in that way, I have about 15 plus years of professional conducting experience. I hold degrees from Lincoln University, which is the first degree granting historically Black
Yes.
college in Pennsylvania. I also hold
HBCU.
Lincoln Pride. I also hold degrees from Roberts Wesleyan University in Rochester, New York, as well as the University of Connecticut and the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. Most of my degrees are in conducting or voice. And so while at the University of Connecticut, I held appointments as the assistant director of the UConn Women's Choir, as well as the assistant conductor of the Willimantic Community Orchestra. So I work with choirs as well as orchestras. While at the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music, I held appointments as the assistant director of the Cincinnati Youth Choir, as well as the music director of Muse Cincinnati's Women's Choir. That was an appointment that I held for 6 years. And I am currently the director of choral music at the historic Witherspoon Presbyterian Church, which is my home church here in Indianapolis.
Yes.
And I'm also the associate artistic director of the Delaware Academy of Vocal Arts and our flagship professional ensemble, Elevation. So all of my career has been deeply rooted in choral music. I'm also a classically trained soprano myself. And so, as far as ministry and my call, I believe that my ministry and my call is to elevate the gifts of those around me, which is why, although I do take great pride in performing as a soloist, my greatest joy really does come from working with performances as the director, as the person who sort of has their back to the audience so that whoever is performing can shine. And so every opportunity that I get to amplify and give voice to others, especially underrepresented groups, is a ministry opportunity. Whether I am in or outside of a liturgical setting, the approach to musical excellence and the integrity to authentic performance practice is always going to be the same. I give my best so that I can bring the best out of others.
Awesome. Thank you so much for providing that background. And with this extensive experience that you bring to this opportunity, can you give us some more information about how you stumbled across this opportunity? Did the opportunity find you? Did you find it? How did you find yourself being invited to conduct at Carnegie Hall?
So the opportunity came to me, thank God, in about spring of 2022 during my time as the music director of Muse, Cincinnati's Women's Choir. I received an email from Peter Taboris, who is the director of Mid-America, with a very warm invitation to perform as a conductor at Carnegie Hall. But what sold me on this opportunity, aside from, of course, the fact that it's Carnegie Hall, was that I would get to choose my own repertoire and that I would also get to build my own choir. Thus, having the opportunity to personalize and create a meaningful experience for everyone involved.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So this performance that you are curating is centered around a piece that may not be familiar to a lot of folks, but the composer of the piece is pretty well known,
Mhm.
Glenn Edward Burleigh. And a lot of you who are viewing may know Glenn through the song that he wrote, the prolific gospel song, Order My Steps.
Yes.
That was made popular by the women's choir from the Gospel Music Workshop of America several
Mhm.
years ago. And I want people to know that Glenn was a prolific songwriter and composer across all genres, many genres,
Yes.
and not just gospel. But he wrote music that was appropriate for the church choir, but
Mhm.
also for the concert hall. And this is one of what I think is one of his lesser known pieces.
Mhm.
We don't hear performances of it as much. and it's an extended work. And so, can you tell us about this piece, the title of it, and what drew you to it um, as the piece that you would feature for the concert that you're doing at Carnegie?
Absolutely. So I'll backtrack and answer the latter question and then go back to
Okay.
the first part of it. So I chose this piece for that very reason, because it is lesser known and because it deserves to be more widely known. I chose this piece because I had the opportunity to perform it for my lecture recital during my time at the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music. And I immediately fell in love with its brilliance. It's a
And
beautiful written
tell us the name of the piece.
it's called the NGUZO SABA Suite. NGUZO SABA is another way of saying Kwanzaa. And so I appreciate, Glenn's commitment to his faith, which
Mhm.
shows up in some way or another in all of his compositions. He has a very wide catalog of compositions. And so, regardless of the context of whatever piece he's writing, his faith shows up in it some way or another. And so, he desires to express his faith in the Kwanzaa Suite the same. And so, for those that don't know more about Kwanzaa, this is an African American cultural holiday celebrated from December 26th to January 1st. And there's not a large representation of quality choral music that is exclusively centered around the collective principles of Kwanzaa, which is what makes this suite that much more special, rather. And so the whole suite musically is about half an hour long. A little bit more background about the piece itself, or the suite itself. It was commissioned in 1993 by Dr. James Kinchin of the University of Wisconsin Parkside, and it was commissioned in honor of the university's 25th anniversary. And so, the piece is worthy of being performed because it's accessible to choirs of various levels, from high school to college and professional ensembles. But it also speaks to the social state of humanity, especially today. The variety of styles that lie within this work, makes for an exciting and engaging experience for all involved, whether you are a performer or whether you're an audience member. But the highlight of this work really lies within its address towards the need for diversity and multicultural exclusiveness among all people. And in fact, a strong and persuasive argument can be made for singing it in settings where there is very little diversity on stage or in the audience, especially in settings of academia and professional stages like Carnegie Hall.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And I love the fact that Glenn took all of those principles of Kwanzaa and turned them each into a song or into a movement
Yep.
that makes up the suite.
Mhm.
And I've heard choirs do, one or two of the movements from the piece, but very rarely have I heard it done from beginning to the end.
Yep.
Dr. Tony Leach and the Essence of Joy from uh, Penn Penn State. Yes, did I say it right? Yes, Penn State University. They are very well known for doing this Kwanzaa suite,
Yep.
out when they tour. But I wanted to underscore the fact that when you do this performance at Carnegie Hall, this will be the first performance of this suite with orchestra. This piece is being orchestrated. Can you tell us about that process and how you arrived at doing that?
Yeah, so Dr. Brian Nabors, who was a colleague of mine at the University of Cincinnati, he's a phenomenal composer, and he's a black man, and he's phenomenal in his compositional stylings and his interpretation of music and bringing that to life through instruments. And so, when having the opportunity to take this, this is a Carnegie Hall experience, but it will be with an actual orchestra, a professional orchestra. And so, who better to bring this opportunity to have it arranged or transcribed, rather? He'll do more transcribing than arrangement because we want to honor the integrity of Glenn Burleigh's original composition. So we want to honor that. But
Mhm.
who better to have him transcribe it and bring it to life in instrumentation? The piece itself is originally transcribed for piano, or you can do it with a Hammond organ. drums as well as an electric bass. And so we're going to take those same elements and expand them into the winds and strings and additional percussive instruments so that it comes alive in a magical way. And so I immediately, upon this opportunity, said, who can I get to arrange this piece? And Brian Nabors was the first person that came to my mind.
Wonderful. This is a major undertaking for you. You're not only trying to recruit singers and participants, but you're also working in collaboration with a master musician who is handling the orchestrations. And I'm sure there are going to be tons of meetings and collaborative conversations that you're going to have to make sure everything is where it needs to be. So I applaud you for this undertaking. And I want to recognize those of you that are joining or have joined since we began. Several of you have come into the room. Thank you so much for joining. I am Dr. Tony McNeill. I am here today with my friend and colleague, Dr. Jillian Harrison-Jones, who has been invited to conduct at Carnegie Hall. And she has chosen as her centerpiece, as the centerpiece for her time on the podium, Glenn Burleigh's NGUZO SABA Suite, which is a suite that he wrote in honor of Kwanzaa. So let's talk about the concert, the actual logistics, and how can one participate, and what goes on, what one has to do to sign up to be a part. So talk to us about your goals for the performance and ways that people can be a part.
Absolutely. So I want people to, anyone and everyone that is going to be a part of this performance, I want them to have a desire to, have a love and passion for using music and song to bring about unity among people. I also want them to have a desire to have a transformative experience of their own that they can then go back to their hometowns and spread that same passion. So this invitation is open to everyone, regardless of your age or stage. I want everyone to have a personal investment in participating in this. What's available to you as far as resources for all of the details regarding how you need to get involved with this, as far as there is a cost associated with it, but there are payment plans set up so that you don't have to pay it all at once. And it's a very reasonable price. And for everything that is included in it, I think it's a wonderful deal to be a participant in this performance. And so I have those tools available to me to send out to anyone who is interested in learning more about it. I'll sort of hold up the pamphlet so that you can at least see what the packets will look like when you receive them. But this is the first packet that you'll receive if you inquire about it. It's the full concert residency package. There's two packages, and then the second one is a concert only residency package. And so those two options afford you, a myriad of opportunities and a myriad of experiences to partake in. Costs are associated per individual, but I highly encourage groups, so whole choirs, whole institutions, to bring people rather than individual people. Certainly individuals who desire to be a part of this certainly can be, it certainly can come. I want everyone to be there, but I highly encourage whole groups of people to register your groups to come. You'll get your organization's name in the playbill that's going to be printed for this performance. So there's so many wonderful incentives for being a part of this performance. And so if you are interested, whether again you are a music director or head of an institution and you desire to bring your group, or if you're an individual, please reach out to me personally. I will say out loud my email right now for you to send all of your inquiries to. I'll take time to say it now. My personal email is Jillian, Jillian .dicks, DICKS @gmail.com. All you have to do is send me an email and I will send you all of the information that you need to know regarding how to get involved in this performance. One of the most critical deadlines for getting involved in this is October the 1st of this year. So about 5 weeks from now, in order to assure your participation, there is a deposit that you'll need to get of $300 that again just assures that you are a guaranteed spot in this. And then you and your director or you in conjunction with myself and Mid-America will work out the details of getting payment plans, or if you want to pay everything all up front at once, you can definitely do that as well. But we want to make this experience as accessible as possible to everyone who's interested in being a part.
Wonderful. Now tell us when it is. When is it?
So the performance itself is June 1st of 2024. The
June
full
1st.
residency is Wednesday, May 29th through June 2nd. So it's a 5-day, 4-night residency, but the actual performance is going to be on June the 1st.
Okay. Can you talk about what will happen, some of the things that will happen before and after the performance, just so people can get a sense of what it will be like to be in residence there with you?
Absolutely. So your residency includes all access to all of the rehearsals that will be taking place. There will be rehearsals taking place each day. The rehearsals will not be all day on those days. So certainly if you want to have the opportunity to plan excursions and other experiences as related to the New York experience, you have the liberty to do that and plan for that accordingly. So you'll have access to those rehearsals as well as dress rehearsals, the actual performance itself on the first, and then after the performance, there will be a post-concert celebration cruise, a 2-hour cruise, which
Oh,
everyone's
cruise.
participating regardless of what track you're on. You get to experience this cruise. It's 2 hours. There's food, drink, music, you name it. It's going to be a celebration on the water, and it's going to be a fabulous experience. So that just gives you a glimpse into what to expect. But it's full of activities throughout the entire week.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
That is great. So you all have heard it there. You're not only going to be able to sing in this beautiful venue with this amazing orchestra, but there are other activities before and after that will help ground your experience and make it very wholesome. Oh my God, this is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm seeing you all tag folks and inviting other people into the conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And I thought I saw Dewala Simmons Burke. Uh,
Yes.
Professor Burke
Yeah.
is in the space, and I want to honor her presence and in the room as she has participated in a Mid America opportunity.
Yeah.
I think it was earlier this year that
Hmm.
Dewala did her conducting performance there, and she did Rosephine Powell's
Hmm.
"Cry of Jeremiah."
Hmm.
There have been some other African Americans who have graced that stage, such as Dr. Clark Joseph, and others that are going to be coming on board along with yourself. Patrick D. McCoy has been invited. I am just thrilled at the number of African American composers who are taking their place, their rightful place, on that world renowned stage. And one of which will be Dr. Jillian Harrison-Jones. That is just it's just so phenomenal. So tell us about, is there a a certain number of singers you need? How can we help be ambassadors of this effort? What do you need us to do?
Absolutely. So, 150 people on stage, not including instrumentalists, but
Okay.
solely singers, is the goal. And 150 is my goal because the number of people that I get on stage will determine how long we are on stage. So, 100 people, we are afforded a half hour's worth of time. So, since the suite itself is a half an hour, that affords us just enough time to do the suite. However, it's a part of my artistic vision for us to have a full hour. In order for us to have that full hour, we need 150 singers on stage to sing. And the more people we get, the more time we can program additional pieces and things to shape around and complements of the NGUZO SABA suite. So it's really my desire to have 150 plus. So we have a full hour to really create something meaningful. And
Wow.
so, yeah.
So all of you choir directors and ministers of music or community choir directors, university choir directors of all sorts and kinds, really think about this. And if you can't bring your whole choir, bring a small ensemble of your choir.
Yes.
Those of you, again, as Dr. Harrison Jones has stated, even if you are a individual singer who would love to be a part of this effort, you can sign up, you
Yes.
can register. you can contact Dr. Harrison-Jones at this email address that you see right here on the screen, jillian.dix@gmail.com.
Mhm.
Um, Anything else that you want to share, Dr. Harrison-Jones, about the performance?
I'm just so excited and elated for the opportunity. As you had talked about, there's not a lot of us that get the
Yes.
opportunity to be on that stage. And so it's a blessing and an honor. There's a lot that goes into it, but I am embracing every step of the way, every complicated or simple part of the process. I embrace it all because it's just that it's an honor. And
Yes.
so any and everyone who desires to be a part of, whether you yourself or whether you know someone who desires to be a part of this, every piece of the logistics that are involved, we will work with you and make sure that this process is as easy flowing for you as possible, whether it's helping you take care of your airfare, whether it is helping you take care of your hoteling,
Mm.
anything that you need logistics wise. We are here, myself and our chief executives at the Mid America Productions are here to make sure that everything that you need flows as smoothly as possible. So I'm excited to journey with all of you on this experience, and let's go to Carnegie Hall.
Amen. Amen. I want to reiterate the pressing deadline that is coming up for those
Yes,
that may be interested. It is a deposit. It's a non-refundable deposit. Am I correct? Yeah,
yes,
that is due on October 1,
yes.
October 1st. How much is that deposit?
$300.
$300. Is a good faith deposit that is due from all singers that are planning to participate. And then what you have told us is that the payment installments can be arranged for the balance of the trip. Would you
Yes.
share with us the total cost of the residency um, for those that may be coming in from out of town, and then the cost for those that may just want to do the day package, if you will?
Absolutely. So for the full residency package, that for a quad occupancy, so let's say you and your group are coming and there's four people that you want to stay in a room. That is going to be to the tune of $1,700.
Okay.
Okay. And for or it'll at least start at 1700. Certainly, if you desire to say room by yourself or room with one other person, that amount may go up depending on the cost of the hotel and depending on how many people you're rooming with. But that cost starts at $1,700. That includes or assures that your hotel and lodging is taken care of. It includes everything about a part of the residency, including hotels. The difference between that package and the alternative package, which is the concert only package, is you still get all of the rehearsal experiences, the post concert cruise, et cetera, et cetera. Only you will then be responsible for taking care of your own hotel and lodging. So that's the major difference between the two. So you can decide whether or not you want to handle your own lodging or if you would like for Mid America to take care of those details for you, which in and of itself can alleviate a lot of stress in and of itself. But that is completely dependent upon you and your personal desire regarding what kind of logistical details you desire to be immersed in part of. So the concert only package is $1,100. So there's about a $500 to $600 difference between the two packages. But again, it's up to you to decide, whether or not you want Mid America to take care of your lodging, which there's great benefits to that.
Mhm.
Certainly more money, but there's so much ease that comes along with making sure that you don't have to take care of your lodging. But there are also benefits to doing your own lodging and just taking care or taking full benefit of the concert only package. So it's completely dependent upon you. And if you send me an email, I will send you both of those package details so that you can look all of those things over in great detail to then help you decide what you want to do. But the deposit, regardless of what track you do, is going to be $300 for every individual.
October 1st.
October 1st.
October 1st. Absolutely. I want to now open the floor for any additional questions that any of our viewers, our friends that are joining us, and I'm seeing a great number of folks. Maria Ellis, good to see you, who
Hey,
also
Maria.
had a Carnegie Hall debut
Yes.
recently, and she conducted the Robert Ray Gospel Mass. And I want to congratulate Maria as well as, again, Professor Dewala Simmons Burke, and now Jillian Harrison-Jones, excuse me. I'm looking at your email address and then trying to say your name. Excuse me. I don't want Pastor Harrison Jones coming after me. Um, but and now Jillian is taking her rightful place in that trajectory of Black women who are coming to the Carnegie Hall stage. I just think that it is beautiful. It's amazing. I am proud of all three of you, and I know it's going to be an incredible experience. So, if there are any questions that any of you might have for Dr. Harrison Jones, I'd like for you to type those in the comments. I'm seeing some other great folks that are joining us. High school choral directors, Ishmael Harris McKinstry, right here in Atlanta. Good to see you. I see Dr. Stephanie Menity. Good to see you, Dr. Menity. And she has a question here. And she says, how can you get a copy of the piece?
Mm-hmm.
And
So
everybody participating will be expected to get the piece.
yes. So the score is available on J.W. Pepper. It's published through the Glenn Burleigh Memorial Ministries. And so the score in and of itself is about $20. So you would be responsible for purchasing and securing your own score. However, I will secure rehearsal tracks to aid in your learning. Certainly, if yeah, I got you all, because
Yes.
we know that you all are, a part of other ministries and a part of other ensembles, and you may have to learn the bulk of this piece on your own. So it's my effort to aid you in that learning by offering you rehearsal tracks to aid in your learning. So that's how you would secure. If you just type into your Google search the NGUZO SABA Suite by Glenn Burleigh, and you type in score, one of the first things that should show up in your search engine is that score by J.W. Pepper.
Okay. So going to jwpepper.com and typing in Glenn Burleigh's name or the title of the piece,
Mm-hmm.
and you should be able to find it there.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Menity, for that question. Are there any other questions here? Okay, here's another one. Uh, Ishmael McKinstry is asking, is there an audition process?
No, you do not have to audition. You just have to be able to hold a tune. I can work with you if you can hold a tune. So there is no audition process.
Okay. Emily Albers has a question that says, when will we know which hotel rehearsals will be in?
So you would know that information at the top of the year. So the way the timeline works is October 1st, you would secure your deposit and secure your space. And then further details at the top of the year will be sent out about hotel information, confirming that you're a part of it. So you can then start to secure additional things like your airfare. That's another thing that's not included in either package. Especially if you are outside of New York City, you will be responsible for getting into and outside of New York City. But certainly if you're already within, the greater New York City area, certainly that won't be an issue for you. But yeah, so you'll find out all of that information at the top of the year going through this process.
Excellent. Now I got to pause and honor this special comment that I see. Your mom. Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
Hello, Miss Josephine. Nice to have you here. And she says, I'm Jillian's mother and I am past excited. I can hear that. I can hear that excitement in that comment. Thank you so much, Miss Josephine, for joining us. Here's another question from Shonda Nicole Gladden. Good to see you. She says, do you have any idea what ticket costs might be for people who want to come to be in the audience on the day of the performance?
Absolutely. So tickets go on sale rather 90 days before the actual performance. And tickets range from $50 to about $125, depending on where in the auditorium you desire to sit. So $50 to about $125.
Excellent. So for those of you that may not be able to sing but want to attend, that is a possibility. Yes. So stay tuned and visit the Mid America website. Is that how can people be made aware of the tickets? Going to Carnegie Hall website, Mid America. Where's the best place?
Probably go directly to Carnegie Hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, here's another question from Samantha Cobb. Can non-performers stay in the hotel?
Yes, non-performers can stay in the hotel. If a non-performer wants to take that route, they would still have to pay the full performance residency package. There
Gotcha.
is an option if you, as a performer, are taking the concert only package, which does not include hotel. You do have the option to, for an additional $500, add a spouse, a friend, or whomever to go along in the spirit experience with you. They just would not perform with you, so they would still have access to the rehearsals. They would just sit on the sideline and just take in the experience. They would still get a ticket to the actual performance itself, as well as still have full access to the post concert celebration cruise. So that's just for an additional $500. So anyone else that you want to bring along, that's an option only for the concert only residency package. But if you have someone who wants to stay in the hotel with you, that person would need to pay the full residency package fee.
Gotcha. Good. Got another question here. Okay, no, 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 sorry. This one. Do performers get cop tickets?
That was a question that I initially asked Mid America myself. No, they do not. Now, if there is a music director that is bringing in an ensemble and that music director brings in, say, 30 or more singers, then that music director will get two complimentary tickets.
Ah,
But the singers themselves will not get complimentary tickets,
okay.
unfortunately.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So choir directors, there's your incentive right there. Okay. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Are there any other questions? And I want to make sure I haven't skipped over any. I want to thank you all for coming. I see Patrick D. McCoy in the house.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick. And we want to honor you and your presence in the room and congratulate you on your upcoming podium time at Carnegie Hall that will happen in 2024 as well.
Mhm.
Patrick will be paying tribute to Undine Smith Moore in
Yeah.
his performance.
Mhm.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Any other questions that you might have? Hey, you all type those in the comments. I'm seeing some familiar faces come in. Good to see you, Dr. Jan Taylor,
Hey.
um, former choral director at Prairie View A&M University in Texas, retired uh, professor. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Taylor. And I also see Dr. Jeffrey Allen Murdoch, who
Hey,
I think
Jeff.
is abroad. I think
In
he is,
Ghana.
yeah,
Yeah.
in Africa. Good to see you, Dr. Murdoch. Thank you so much for stopping by. Uh, and thank you everybody for joining. We're going to leave this broadcast up for folks to come back and experience this in a playback. And if any of you who are joining now want to revisit this, you may do so. If you are interested in learning more about supporting Dr. Jillian Harrison-Jones at Carnegie Hall and bringing your choir or you yourself signing up, contact her at this email address right here, jillian.dix@gmail.com. And please be mindful that the $300 deposit to confirm your space on that Carnegie Hall stage is due October 1.
Yes.
Okay, got a couple of weeks to get that together, and get that paid to secure your spot on the stage. Any last comments or any words that you want to leave everybody before we sign off?
Again, I'm just so grateful to you, Tony, for the opportunity to have this platform and to have this conversation. Grateful to everyone who has tuned in live in this conversation, and grateful for those who will tune in later on to this. Again, I'm just excited about this opportunity to amplify the voices of Black and Brown, the faces of Black and Brown people, and let's do this thing.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you so much, Dr. Harrison Jones, for taking the time to join me in this conversation. Congratulations to you and to the choirs that are under your leadership, who will be supporting you, your church family, and all of you who are watching, who I hope will allow your choirs to be a part of this incredible opportunity to honor a composer that is so near and dear to us, Glenn Edward Burleigh. We lift his name and his memory, and I am grateful to see that this piece will live in Carnegie Hall. And I know if Glenn was alive today, he would just be as happy as a kid at Christmas. I know he would, and especially with the work being orchestrated. He was a big fan of classical music and church music, and like I said, all kinds of music. You can hear his commitment to various genres expressed in all of his music. So we honor Glenn. We speak your name, and if his sister Bonnie is watching, we want to say hello to you, Bonnie, and honor you and your witness in the world. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And do not forget, October 1 is the deadline for your $300 deposit. And to learn more about this opportunity to sing Glenn Burleigh's NGUZO SABA Suite under the direction of Jillian Harrison-Jones, email her at this address, jillian.dix@gmail.com. This is going to happen June 2024 in New York on the stage at Carnegie Hall. But we got to prepare now for
Yeah.
that. This is not one of them things where we can wait the Sunday before or the day before.
Nope.
this ain't a black church experience, okay?
I know that's right.
This requires some preparation, some significant preparation. So
Yes.
that's why we want to get this word out, get the word out, and I hope that all of you will share and reshare this broadcast with your friends and choir directors and musicians that are connected to you. Thank you, everybody. Thank
Yeah.
you,
Thank you.
Dr. Jillian, and we'll see everybody soon.
See ya. Thank you all.
Thank y'all so much. We're going to head over to Instagram. So if you want to hop on Instagram
I'm
and join us, you can join us at Dr. Tony Mack. That's my Instagram IG. We're going to recreate this same experience over there on Instagram. So join us. All right. Thank you, everybody.
see ya.